Millionaire noticed the Black Waitress stayed calm in blackout. Minutes later, the whole room followed her. The glass walls of the Sky Hall glowed over the city like a crown. Inside, the room was gold and warm. Soft music drifted from a corner. Waiters moved like quiet waves. Expensive suits laughed too loud. Cameras flashed and then slept. At the head table sat Adrian Vale, a young millionaire with sharp eyes and a slow smile. He liked control. He liked neat plans and quick wins. He liked gifts that came in metal and light. Beside the stage stood a Black Waitress named Naomi Reed. She wore a clean white jacket and black shoes that did not squeak. Her tray did not rattle. Her steps were steady. She watched people with kind eyes. She said little. She learned fast. A storm rolled over the river outside. Lightning brushed the glass. The chandeliers shivered. Adrian lifted his glass to speak. He did not get his words out. The lights cut. The music died. The city fell away. The Sky Hall went black. At first, there was only breath and chairs. Then came fear. Someone gasped. Someone cursed. A fork clinked on tile and sounded like a bell. Phones woke up and glowed like fireflies. Faces turned into pale moons. "Stay calm," a man shouted, and his voice shook. "Is this a joke?" a woman asked. Her rings scratched the table. Feet scraped. A child cried. A bodyguard called into a dead radio. The air grew tight. The storm outside grinned and threw down more rain. Adrian stood, but the dark turned him into a shadow like any other. He did not like this. He could not buy this moment or edit it. His hand tightened on the back of his chair. Beside the head table, Naomi Reed did not flinch. She set her tray down without a sound. She reached into the pocket of her apron and found a small box of safety matches. She felt for a candle at the center of the head table. She struck a match. It hissed, then bloomed. She shielded it with her palm and set the flame to the wick. The candle woke and gave a soft, steady light. She did not shout. She did not rush. She breathed out, slow and even. "Look at the candle," Naomi said, her voice soft and sure. "Breathe with me. In for 4. Hold for 2. Out for 4. She held her hand up and counted with her fingers in the glow. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. 1, 2. Out. 1, 2, 3, 4. She did it again. People copied without thinking. Light touched their cheeks. Their shoulders lowered. The sound of chairs slowed. The phones lowered. The crying child calmed. Naomi took a second candle from a side table, then a third. She lit both from the first and handed one to a waiter and one to the event planner. "Spread the light, not the noise," she said, "one table at a time." The planner nodded with shaky gratitude and moved carefully, candle high. The waiter followed. Circles of gold grew all over the room. The blackout did not end, but the fear changed shape. It was smaller now. It had a face and a border. Adrian felt the shift in his body before he named it. The room was still dark, but it no longer felt wild. He could see Naomi's steady face, her careful hands, the way her eyes kept scanning for the next need. "Generators?" he asked his head of security, Grant. "They should kick in," Grant said, tapping his earpiece as if a habit could fix silence. "We had them tested last month." Naomi looked at Grant's belt. "You carry a small flashlight?" she asked. "Yes," he said. "Please point it at your feet," she answered. "No one wants a fall." The request was light, but it had steel under it. Grant did what she said. Other guards did the same. The guests noticed. They pointed their phone lights down, too. The room felt safer by inches. A chef burst through the kitchen doors. His name was Elio. His hat was gone. His face was tight. "The oven's shut," he said. "The gas is off, I think. I need someone to check the main valve, and the walk-in door alarm died with the power. If we keep it open, the food will spoil. If we shut it, People may be inside. Naomi did not look afraid. "Okay," she said. "We solve one thing at a time. Chef, prop the walk-in with that metal pan. Grant, send a guard to the main valve with the building engineer. Use radios only if the generator starts. Today, they are just jewelry." Her calm made odd jokes safe. A few people laughed, soft and grateful. The humor let them breathe in a hard minute. A woman near the bar pressed a hand to her chest and leaned on a stool. "My heart," she whispered. Naomi walked to her, candle in hand. "May I touch your wrist?" "Yes," the woman breathed. Naomi counted her pulse. Fast, but not wild. "What is your name?" "Sophia Bell," the woman said. "I have a pacemaker." Naomi's voice stayed even. "Miss Bell, we will sit you down and keep you cool. No stairs, no rush. Do you have water?" "No." Naomi turned to a server. "2 glasses of water and a cool towel, please." She looked at the DJ, who was sitting quietly with his hands on his equipment. "If you have a small battery fan in your kit, now is the time." He did. He handed it over. Naomi placed it near Sophia's face. "You're okay," she said. "We will keep you that way." Sophia nodded and closed her eyes. Her breath slowed. A little voice rose from the far side of the room. "Mom?" It was thin. It was scared. A small girl stood near the coat check door, her hair frizzed by the storm, tears shining. "Mom!" Naomi moved fast but gentle. "What's your name?" "Lena," the girl said. "I can't find my mom. The lights went off and I—" Her voice broke. Naomi knelt so her eyes were level with Lena's. "We will find her," she said. "Can you remember what she wears?" "A red dress with tiny gold dots." Naomi turned her head slowly toward the crowd. "Red dress with tiny gold dots," she called, calm, never loud enough to feed panic. A voice from across the room cried, "Lena!" 2 candles lifted. A woman in a red dress surged forward. Naomi put her hand up, palm out. "Slow," she said. "Walk. We don't run in the dark." The woman obeyed. She reached her child and dropped to her knees and held her close. Naomi smiled, small and bright, then stood and scanned again. Adrian watched all of it in the soft light. He felt like a person standing on a stage while another person held the script. He was not angry about it. He was relieved. In his head, a memory knocked on a door he had kept closed. He saw a tiny kitchen from his childhood. He saw his mother light a candle during a summer blackout. He saw her put a hand on his hair. He heard her whisper, "Stillness is not empty. Stillness is how we choose." Back then, he had learned that lesson and then lost it. He had replaced it with loud winds and shiny answers. He looked at Naomi now and felt the old lesson return like a friend. Grant came back from the hall with the building engineer, a thin man with a tool belt and calm eyes. "A transformer blew by the river," the engineer said. "Half the block is out. The generator is old, but we can start it by hand if we clear the exhaust and check the fuel. We also need to make sure nobody lights anything near the service door. There might be a gas smell. It could be nothing. It could be something." Naomi nodded. "No open flames near the service door or the kitchen back hall," she said. "Candles stay in the ballroom. Phones stay on flashlight only. No lighters, no cigars." She looked at a guest who had a cigar case half open. Her voice was kind. "Sir, let's save that for a happier night." He blinked at her, then closed the case and slipped it into his pocket. Adrian lifted his chin. "Everyone, listen," he said. He found that his voice came out steady now, not because he forced it, but because he matched it to Naomi's pace. "We will follow staff instructions. We will keep the aisles clear. We will use candles only at tables. If anyone feels unwell, raise your hand, not your voice. Help is closest when it can see you." The words were simple. They worked. People nodded. Someone made a joke about the most expensive camping trip in the city. Laughter rose, warm and brief, then settled. Naomi caught Adrian's eye. For a moment they stood in quiet agreement. This was not a night for charm. It was a night for care. The first turning point had been the blackout. The second came with a hiss. In the hall near the service door, a thin sound cut through the storm's growl. Elio the chef heard it and went still. He knew that sound. He smelled it too. Faint, bitter, metallic. Gas. He held his breath, then breathed out slow so he would not feed fear. "Naomi," he called softly from the doorway. She turned. Their eyes met. She walked toward him with the candle shielded by her palm. He shook his head at the flame, and she cupped it out with a quick, damp thumb, then set the warm glass down on a side table. "What is it?" she whispered. Elio pointed to the dark seam of the service door. "Hiss," he said. "Smell." Naomi listened. She smelled. She nodded once. "Grant," she said, light but urgent. Grant appeared with his flashlight low. Naomi leaned to his ear. "Gas at the service door," she whispered. "No spark." Grant turned and made a small, open-handed wave that meant stop to the nearest candle-bearer. The wave moved from person to person like a dance they had learned in a past life. Candles stayed. No flame moved toward the hall. Grant radioed the engineer, then remembered the radio was useless, and put 2 fingers in his mouth and let out a soft, short whistle, the kind used on movie sets to call quiet attention, not to startle. The engineer's head turned. He came at a walk. He knelt by the service door and pressed a tool to a valve. "It's minor," he said after a minute that felt like 10. "A loose line on the back stair. I can fix it if no one lights anything and if someone opens the roof vent." He looked at Adrian. "The roof vent stuck last week." Adrian cursed himself for letting maintenance slide under pretty things. "Open." "It," he said. "How?" the engineer asked. "By hand." "Who knows the ladder?" Naomi asked. "I do," said a housekeeper named Alma, who had been folding napkins by feel. "But I need light and I need help." "You have both," Naomi said. "Grant, go with Alma. Keep lights on feet. Slow steps. No heroes." They moved like the inside of a clock, each part small, each part sure. Alma and Grant reached the roof hatch, fought with a stubborn wheel, and forced the vent open. Cool air flowed. The hiss eased. The engineer tightened the line and nodded. "Better." Naomi let herself breathe. She did not celebrate yet. She checked the room again. A guest had tears on his face. She gave him a napkin. "All good," he said, embarrassed. "I just needed to see someone be calm." She smiled. "We borrow calm from each other," she said. "It's free." The third turning point arrived with a human choice, not a machine noise. Adrian stood on the small stage that had been built for his speech and the planned string quartet. A woman from the charity partner, a teacher named Margot Quinn, stood next to him with a binder in her hands and a tight mouth. Adrian could have ended the night. He could have sent everyone home. He could have promised refunds and posted a polished note. He looked at Naomi, who was moving among tables like a lighthouse with feet. He looked at the candles. He looked at the storm and the city beyond. He tapped the mic out of habit. Nothing. He lifted his voice, not to make it big, but to make it clear. "Friends," he said, "we planned a show. The city gave us a different night. I have spent years thinking leadership was noise and shine. Tonight, a member of our team showed me something truer. We will not cancel. We will not pretend this is normal. We will shift." He pointed to the charity banner which read, "Teach the City." "We will turn this into a quiet class. We will run a simple drill. We will learn how to help each other when the world goes dark." Naomi blinked. Then she nodded. She walked to the stage with unhurried steps. Adrian stepped aside. "Naomi Reed," he said, "please lead us." She held up her hands. They were empty. "Okay," she said. Lesson 1. How to be still. Take a seat if you can. Feet flat, shoulder down. "Breathe with me," she counted. They breathed. Lesson 2. How to look for the person who needs help most. Eyes sweep left to right. Look for the small. Look for the quiet. Fear can hide. They swept. They found a man near the wall who had a cut on his hand from a broken wine glass. A server brought a clean towel. Naomi wrapped it with a firm, kind pressure. Lesson 3. How to speak in the dark. Use short words. Use names if you know them. Point if you must. No shouting. Shouting makes small fires into wildfires. People practiced. It felt silly for a second. Then it felt right. They did not cheer when the generator finally coughed and the exit signs blinked to life in soft red. They did not need to. They had already changed. Alma and Grant came down the stairs with dust in their hair and smiles on their faces. The engineer wiped his hands and drank a glass of water like it was a prize. Elio returned to the kitchen, checked the lines, and came back to report, "Safe." Naomi thanked him like he had lifted a bus. He shrugged and blushed and looked at his shoes. The DJ, who had been quiet as a cat, spoke into the dark. "I have an acoustic guitar in my car," he said. "If someone holds a candle at the door, I can grab it." Naomi looked at the engineer, who nodded. "No gas now," he said. "Go." The DJ came back and sat on the edge of the stage and played a soft song. It sounded like warm bread and clean blankets. People hummed. When the main lights finally surged, they did not burn away what had happened in the dark. They lit it. Faces looked different in bright gold, softer, more open. The crowd did not rush to leave. They stayed and finished the simple meal Elio had saved and served at room temperature with pride. They talked like neighbors, not like rivals. They kept their phones in their pockets. Some taught each other the breathing counts. Someone asked Naomi where she learned to be like this. She smiled and said, "My grandmother taught me to stop before I start. She used to say, 'Count the room, then count yourself in.'" The person nodded. "I will try that," he said. "Try it when the power is on, too," Naomi said. "It works then as well." Later, when the guests had gone and the candles were small pools of wax, Adrian found Naomi by the window. The city still had a few black patches, but most of it shone again. Rain made the streets look like ribbon. "I want to thank you," he said. His voice was not the voice he used for interviews. It was lighter, truer. "You did not just save a party. You taught a room how to act when nothing is certain. I did not know how to do that. I thought I did." Naomi shook her head. "You did know," she said softly. "You remembered. You let the room copy your calm when you lifted your voice the way I spoke mine. That is leadership, too." Adrian laughed a little. "I copied you." "Then we copied each other," she said. "That is how crowds become communities." He looked at the stage, then at the banner for the charity. "Teach the city," he read aloud. "Tonight you did that." He drew a breath. "Naomi, would you consider a new role? Director of Guest Care and Safety. Not just for events. For the training, we will build with the charity. We will fund blackout and first aid workshops in schools, cafes, and towers. We will pay for kits, fans, candles, radios. We will partner with the fire department and the transit authority. You will design it with them. You will be the heart of it." Naomi's eyes widened. She had not asked for this. She had not even imagined it. "I do not have a degree," she said, as if she might break the spell by speaking truth. "You have something rarer," he said. "You keep your head and you help others keep theirs. We can teach the rest. Will you say yes?" Naomi looked at the room she had held in her hands like a bowl. She looked at the night she had steadied. She looked at the woman in the red dress laughing with her child near the door. "Yes," she said. It was not a loud yes. It was not a TV yes. It was the kind of yes that holds. Adrian did not sleep much that night. He sat at his kitchen table with a cup of tea and let the quiet speak. He wrote a letter to his staff thanking every person by name. He wrote a check to the charity with a number he would have argued against yesterday. He called his mother and told her about the candle. She laughed and said, "I always knew you would come back to stillness." He stood at the window and watched the city heal from the storm. He thought about power, not the kind that runs through wires, the kind that runs through people when they decide to be brave and kind at the same time. He understood finally why the room had followed one person. It was not tricks. It was not shine. It was the oldest trick in the book. Do the right small thing and do it first. Weeks later, Sky Hall held another event. This time, the first 5 minutes were always the same. Naomi walked on stage and said, "Welcome. Before we begin, we will practice calm." Lights dimmed for 30 seconds. A single candle lit the room. People breathed together. They learned how to look after each other. They learned how to make a circle of light with their bodies and their choices. Then the lights came back, and the event began. Some rolled their eyes at first. Then a day came when a fuse blew in a different building across town, and a teenager who had gone to one of the workshops stood up and led her class with the same simple count. Her teacher wrote to Naomi and said, "You did not just save a night. You started a habit." At the end of the season, Adrian and Naomi stood again at the tall glass and looked at the river. Boats moved like slow hope. The city breathed. "I used to think I led because I had the mic," he said. "Now I know I lead when I give it away." Naomi smiled. "You didn't give it away," she said. "You shared it." "That's different." He nodded. In the reflection on the glass, he could see them side by side. Not boss and staff. Not rich man and waitress. People. He felt grateful that the dark had taught him what the light had hidden. That night, as the last guests left and the last candle went out, Naomi took one wick between 2 fingers and pinched gently. A thread of smoke curled up and wrote a small message in the air that no one could read but everyone could feel. You can be this in any room. You can be the steady center. You can be the person who holds the match and the moment without burning either. Adrian turned off the stage light and walked to the door. He paused and looked back at the room that had learned to follow a quiet voice. He whispered the sentence that now lived in him like a compass and, with a small smile, repeated the words that had named the lesson of his life. Millionaire noticed the Black Waitress stayed calm in blackout. Minutes later, the whole room followed her.